The affirmative told you that she claimed that the embargo hurts Cuba and U.S. relations. My claim is that the embargo hurts Cuba and U.S. relations for good reasons, for 3 good reasons. 2, actually. The first one being, the embargo enables the U.S. to apply pressure on the Cuban government to improve human rights. There's been a long history of human rights abuses in Cuba. These abuses can be seen in a report by the Congressional Research Service, which states that 4,123 people were detained for political reason in 2011, and 6,602 political detentions occurred in 2012. So that should give you some insight on some of the abuses that Cuba has placed on its people in history. Second reason being that Cuba has not demonstrated a willingness to negotiate in good faith with the U.S. President Obama stated in an open for questions roundtable, "What we've tried to do is to send a signal that we are open to a new relationship with Cuba in order for us to be fully engaged with them. And so far, at least, what we haven't seen is the kind of genuine spirit of transformation inside of Cuba that would justify us eliminating the embargo." Now, as the affirmative told you, President Obama made efforts to ease some of the sanctions that have been placed on Cuba with the embargo. And with him saying that we haven't seen the kind of genuine spirit of transformation inside of Cuba that would justify us eliminating the embargo, shows that he's not actually fully supporting this embargo. The lift of this embargo. Another piece of evidence I have to support this second claim is from Hillary Clinton, when Hillary Clinton said this in response to Obama's efforts to ease the sanctions. She said, "The Castros don't want to see an end to the embargo and do not want to see normalization with the U.S. because they would lose all of their excuses for what hasn't happened in Cuba in the last 50 years. When it comes to economics, the affirmative told you that U.S. would benefit from the lift of the embargo. Now, my claim is that the economic benefits to the U.S. would be minimal. The piece of evidence I have to support this is from Christopher Sabatini, Senior Policy Director at the Americas Society and Council of the Americas in New York. He said, "We're not looking at a large impact on Cuba for the U.S. economy. These changes will be minimal too. The change in U.S. policy on the embargo doesn't address the multiple distortions and structural hurdles in Cuba in terms of economic growth, as 95% of the Cuban economy is controlled by the state." So this shows that another piece of evidence I have to support this is from Jose Azel, a senior scholar at the University of Miami's Institute for Cuban and Cuban American Studies in Florida. He said, "While the White House eased export restrictions on telecommunications equipment and agricultural and construction goods, it's not clear how Cuba would be able to pay for such imports, as Cuba pays in cash for the agricultural imports that we are already giving them today. And also, few private financial institutions are willing to open credit lines to Havana due to Cuba's closed economy." Jose Azel also added that U.S. foreign direct investment in Cuba is also unlikely to ratchet up because foreign investors in Cuba must partner with the Cuban government, not private companies, as minority shareholders, giving American firms a small stake in an unequal partnership, meaning that the Cubans will have the majority of the stake. We can conclude that the potential economic benefits for the U.S. are offset by the practices of the Cuban government.